Woohoo!
Since this friendship thing seems important, and it seems like it's on some level difficult, let's explore a little bit how people actually make friends.
Okay.
You say you've had a few great friendships in your life. How did you become friends with those people?
For most of them, I got to know them a little bit in some sort of way, either by going to school with them or hanging out with them one time. And then I saw something I liked about them. I saw something that I was like, oh, we could like be better friends out of this. And I tried to spend more time with them. When you're put in a situation like school, it's easy to form natural acquaintances with people, and those can even blossom into friendships. And when you're friends with one person, sometimes you join like a friend group, sometimes you get to know their friends, sometimes you're able to be friends with someone in a natural way, and that's so great. But those friends that I've made in that way have, I felt, more been friends of convenience than friends that I really want to keep around. And those friends are the friendships that are not built to last. Because if you're friends with someone because you're put in the same location, then that is a good foundation for a friendship and it can blossom into something more. But if you continue to interact with each other purely out of necessity or out of convenience, then that friendship is going to eventually wither away when it's no longer convenient to keep it around. But if it's a friendship that either you were introduced to and then you started building on your own, or that you just entirely extended out an arm to in the first place, then it was an act of yours. It was a conscious act to try to be friends with this person. And then you continue to do that over and over and over again to get closer and closer and closer. And whether that be because it was a conscious act, it was someone that you really felt you could be friends with, and so you're naturally more compatible, whether that be because the effort put in made the friendship feel more valuable to you, that friendship, without a doubt, has been the friendships that has been more close for me, more comfortable for me, and more built to last for me. So I think that the really consistent factor in all the friendships that I've had that have been good for me have been that I've been the one to reach out and that I've been an active, conscious act to try to become closer.
It's interesting that when you describe your friendships, that there's always this safe place that enables that friendship to begin to start. At school or friend group that already exists. I think that's actually really common. I was developing a product for one of my technology companies, and we were trying to understand what makes great friendships, because we were trying to develop friendships online.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, our hypothesis was that it was all about commonalities. But when I actually went back and began to analyze my own friends and how we had become friends, it wasn't because we were some match made in heaven, but what we defined ultimately as the environment that creates friendships are what we called safe, repeated interactions. You know, you're thrown into the same place with another person and you both have your purpose there.
Yeah.
Then again and again and again, and then all of a sudden, you know, that magic can happen.
I know we're talking about friendship here, but like the concept of like dating apps, where you're trying to meet someone online and explore interests in order to like meet up in a place and like go on a date and like go on another date. And it's like there's the expectation that you're supposed to get to know each other over the dates. Nothing but like spend time together and then like maybe another activity depending where the date is taking place at. And that seems really different from how you describe a good relationship, or at least a friendship, can build naturally.
Well, and I think that's why people find dating apps as they are today so difficult. They really put so much pressure on the relationship right away. And there is no natural social environment just to let the interactions happen.
Yeah.
And it's becoming harder. A lot of work is becoming virtual right now. And school's even becoming virtual. And of course, we all had to go through COVID. We don't have the same social rituals that we used to have. People don't go to religious services like they used to. People aren't as involved in sports leagues and in other extracurricular things with other people anymore. And so much of our interaction is online.
I think the online versus in real life thing is interesting because I think it's definitely more difficult to create and keep and maintain online friendships and relationships than it is to do those things for ones that are in reality. But I think that there can also be online friendships built in the similar way, repeated interaction. And an example that I'd like to bring up is video games, where you could work together and play together, and you have a task to complete. And so the pressure isn't all on you to just talk about yourselves and each other and try to get to know each other. It's like a natural formation of knowing each other over time, of just talking to each other about other things. And there's other things besides video games, fandom environments where you're both like fans of the same thing, and then you can talk about that together. And it's a lot of based a lot on like interest, and also being in the same place without like a reason to necessarily interact with each other about yourselves, but there's like a common thing that you're there for, that you can talk about. I don't really think it is necessarily an online versus in real life perspective. The same core aspects of creating and maintaining a relationship sort of stay the same.
Yeah, I've always believed in the ability to make close human connections online. One of my earliest girlfriends I met online. And I'm an old person, right? So this was back in 1995. 1995. I met a woman in an atheist chat room. We didn't even have web browsers at that time. I don't think it's necessarily an in real life versus online thing, but I do think that you were right in the way you described video games as being like sort of a perfect environment online to develop relationships, because you're doing something together.
Yeah.
You have a purpose together.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel forced, and then you can kind of get to know each other as a secondary part of that.
Yeah. We hope that you enjoyed that video, and if you did, please consider checking out the next one in the series.
Or some of our other series on philosophy and life.
We upload videos every Friday, so don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. See you next week.